I mentioned in my previous video that I was going to try to build another Linux system out of this case that was on the floor down here. Anyway, this is my brother-in-law's old computer, and looking at this, it's actually the identical case that I used to build one of my computers that I took to work. It's kind of interesting to see one of these again. This is an eMachines, what's that model number say? W4685? Yeah, I think that's what that says. 2.6 gigahertz Pentium 4, 80 gig hard drive, which is now missing, 512 meg RAM, and that stupid proprietary thick faceplate eMachine optical drive. And they don't, you can use put a normal drive in this bay, but they don't give the second set of mounting holes here, and if you put a standard drive in the top bay, it'll be recessed way back into the faceplate. But, what else we got in here? The GeForce FX 5200, or no, it's a 6200, 128 megs. And down there, that appears to be my old ATI TV Wonder card. One of the first, I think that was the very first PCI TV card I ever had. And then there's a dial-up modem in the bottom slot. I'm not going to be retaining any of this original hardware. Maybe the cooling fan if it's still any good, but it's got a Delta power supply in it. Probably nothing wrong with it, but I need something a little bit bigger for the modern hardware. In these particular cases, I actually kind of like these. I like how the hard drive cage is laid out. It's kind of reminds me of a more modern case with how it's the direction it faces. Generally the build quality is pretty good on these. And from what I understand, it's actually eMachines and Gateway and one other company, I believe, is the same thing. So these cases were kind of common. And this piece here, there's supposed to be a cover here over this card reader, and I noticed that was missing when they first dropped this computer off. So I actually went on eBay and got one of these covers, so I'll be able to put that back in there. But anyway, let's I kind of want to plug this in and see if this existing motherboard actually still works. I think it does. I'll just plug it in and do a quick power up test on it just out of curiosity, and then I'll take all the stuff out of this case. Alright. On a side note, this is the eMachines VG33 motherboard, and I know I've seen these more than once. So I must have used them in quite a few different models. Ah, it just blew dust all over me. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's got a video card installed. Let's see here. There we go. The Pentium 4 graphic in the corner is clipped off. I think it's because I pressed delete. Wow, another system with a gig of RAM. That's pretty good. I figured it still had the stock memory installed. And that OEM drive is actually made by NEC. Either way, not much I can really do with this. I don't have any SATA adapters to plug into the IDE, so I can't plug in my SSD that I usually use to test Linux. So I guess hardware is going to come out and get replaced. Check this out. It's another one of those cards with those defective Tycon FZ series capacitors, and all three of them are blown. The tops are popped right open on them. It's kind of hard to see with this lighting and this camera, but they're toast. Definitely my old ATI TV Wonder card. I think I still have the little breakout box that plugs into this port back here too. Not like it does me much good these days though. Copyright 2000 ATI Technologies. Man, that thing is 16 years old now. Well, I just found that the little plastic tabs that hold this bay cover in place are broken off the case. So I think I'm just going to super glue this little bezel on here, since there's nothing else that can really go in this drive bay anyhow. I'll just glue it in so it doesn't bounce around in there. And the other problem I see is one of the feet is missing off the bottom of the case, so if I don't have one that's the same height, I'm going to have to replace all 4 of those feet. Not really a big deal, but at least they won't be moving all over the place on me once I got it level. It'll be a lot easier to work with. With all the hardware removed out of the case, I decided to stop for a minute and give it a bit of a cleaning. It turned out pretty good, other than some scratches I can't do much about. This thing has been transported around and stored quite a bit before I got it. And I just realized that when I first started this video, I was trying to read the model number down here, and here it is in big giant letters the whole time, and I was too oblivious to realize it. I'm just blind sometimes. But I think everything's pretty much ready to start installing the hardware. I put a temporary rubber foot on there. It's a little bit smaller diameter than the others, but it's the same thickness, so at least that stops the case from rocking back and forth while I'm trying to work on it. So let's move on with the construction. Those of you that have been watching for a number of years probably recognize this hardware. This was what I built one of my first home theater PCs with, and ironically I had this all packed away in the box, nice and neat, all disassembled to put it on eBay, and never got around to it. But now I think for what little money I'd get out of this, I'm better off repurposing it in this eMachine case. So I've still got the same exact components, the 4 gig kit of Crucial Ballistics and the AMD A8 3870K, and of course the Asus F1A 55M corporate stable model motherboard. And for the data storage, I've got a couple SSDs here. I think this one I've gotten a backup of some stuff on. This one is just my Linux test disk. I think it's already got an earlier version of Linux Mint on it. Both of these SSDs are tired, especially this Patriot. This was my first SSD I ever bought, and it was used in my main rig. It tends to corrupt itself after a while. But I'm going to try it out again just to see how it works. I don't have any important data on this. I'm just experimenting with it, so if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll switch over to this one, because I know this one at least retains data pretty well. But anyway, let me get this stuff unboxed and reassemble it again. Everything's all reinstalled on this board. Felt weird doing that again after so many years. And unlike that HP computer, everything on this is still perfectly clean and new looking, because it's never been exposed to cigarette smoke. I think it's all ready to go. And I've also forgotten how much I like AMD's cooler mounting system. I've been working with the Intel stuff for a while, and I forgot how nice these go on here. And they have the big metal backing plate on them. But anyway, let me get this installed in the case. Hopefully everything's going to fit. I forgot this board had the horizontal SATA headers, and I don't know if they're going to clear that case or not. We'll find out. Well, it's a work in progress at the moment. I've got the power supply mounted, which thankfully fit perfectly in that cutout. I didn't have to trim the corners or anything. There's not a lot of room in this case for all these wires, so I'm going to have to get creative with the cable management. and I found on my shelf a late model LG optical drive, and it's the shallower type, which would be nice to give me some more room up here to do cable management. So that'll fill in that hole in the front panel. Whether or not I really use this very much, I don't know, but I don't want to leave this open, and I don't have one of the special covers that would fill this, so I'll just use the old IDE drive that's in there as a filler plate and put the modern one below it. I think it's the same thing I did with another one of these cases when I built it at work. I'm going to save the cable management for after I see this thing work, so I'm ready to power this up, and once everything is situated I'll see about possibly adding a video card and some other things to this, as well as cleaning up the wiring. Let me turn the power on here. And the only thing I had to do on this case as far as hooking everything up, the header for the power LED on this case was a 2-pin, and the motherboard only supports 3 pins, so I had to go scrounge up another housing from an older case and switch that out, but it's all hooked up and ready to go now. And I guess I should turn the power switch on back there too. And I have the LED hooked up backwards. What a surprise. Probably both of them. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to fix those LEDs because it's really going to bug me, and I'll get right back in a second here. Well, it looks like the LEDs are actually bad on this case. At least the power one might be bad because I tried it in both directions and it's not working, so I'm going to have to switch that out. I think I've got some spares. I don't know if I have any blue ones though, but I'm just going to exit out of this thing and see if it's going to boot off that SSD. I'm all but certain there's a install of Linux Mint on there already. I'm just going to have to upgrade it. So let's let this thing boot. Well, that was easy enough. Didn't have to do anything. I wonder if the accelerated graphics are already going to work. I kind of doubt it. Moving along here, I've got I just finished installing the new version of Linux Mint on the SSD, and I'm getting ready to do the first cold boot. I've also replaced the power LED. It ended up being bad, the actual LED itself, and I looked in my parts stack and found a bag of brand new Cree blue LEDs that I had used to fix one of my DJ lights, so I have a nice bright power light now. And the hard drive LED is working, but it's also very dim, so I'm probably going to replace that before too long here also. There we go. I'm going to run through and do some quick setup and customization, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, I've ran the update manager to get everything patched, and now I'm looking at the driver manager. I want to use the proprietary driver for this, and have the full acceleration available. I can see they've improved the update managers from the previous version of Linux Mint. It's a little bit more automated, and it checks for and makes sure that the sources are up to date automatically. So it's a little more streamlined. Sure takes it a minute to do graphics drivers though. Alright, restart. I don't remember it asking me that before either. It just it would just go back to the desktop and never prompt me for the restart. I had to do it myself. So I think that's something new also. I'd really like to see Linux become to the point that it can actually compete with Windows at least a little bit on the desktop market. I already use it for a lot of my dedicated use machines, but even now there's just some things it can't do that Windows is needed for, and I would really love to see that gap get a little smaller. It looks like the video drivers are working, so I'm going to go in and install some games and Steam and things like that on here so I can actually give this a test. Let's install Garry's Mod. That'll let me test the 3D capability a little bit. And it has been quite a while since I messed around with that. I'm pretty surprised by how fast it's downloading. I don't remember Steam being able to retrieve data this quickly. It's holding steady over 13 megs a second for the most part. Not too shabby considering I've got two other computers online at the moment. Ooh, 14. Nice. Thought I was going to have to wait a long time to get this, but maybe not. It looks like it's going to work. It's getting all the updates, all my add-ons. Add-ons take longer to get than the program. Well, not so much luck on Garry's Mod. It looks okay until I start moving, then things start getting weird. Funny thing is, if I walk back to that original spot, it looks perfectly fine, but move much anywhere else and it gets ugly. So I'll have to do some more work on that. Well, OpenArena is working good. Too bad I can't play with one hand. Nice and smooth on that. I gotta turn the graphics up quite a bit more though. It's still kind of down for the default configuration. Let's see what else we have here. Another one of my favorite games was Frozen Bubble. This is on a lot of Linux distros. It has been for a long time. I'm trying to play through the viewfinder of the camera and it's not working too well. Definitely a pretty relaxing game. It gets hard though after a few levels. And I've got some usual sound and video utilities on here. VLC, Kodi Media Center, another one of my must-haves for pretty much any system. Well, some of you probably remember this from one of my earlier videos. This is that DOS program called Cubic Player. And I've loaded it up in the DOSBox emulator, and it actually sounds really good on here. And I've also loaded up a folder just full of files that I haven't played yet. I think this is that song I played once before. Crystal Fantasia, yeah. Still one of my favorite chip tunes. Computer's blocking the darn speakers. So where's the, yeah, there's one of the analyzers. I don't remember all the hotkeys for this program, it's been so long. And I could sit in here for hours just going through this. I think it was a little bit cooler on the native hardware when I was testing it on the old ALR computer, but this is pretty cool. It's really weird being in DOS on a Linux system, but wonder what else I can load up on here. So one thing that still bugs me with Linux is the network performance. I don't know, it just seems really slow compared to Windows most of the time. I don't know why. I mean, it should have been done like in 2 seconds. Copying all my old DOS programs over to this computer so I can try to load things in DOSBox. I don't even remember what exactly I have in there, but lots of old classic DOS games, I think. You know, it's pretty bad when I'm in DOSBox and I keep typing LS instead of DIR because I'm used to being in the native Linux, and it's a little disorienting to go back and forth. Boy, this is really slow compared to running on the native system though. That and the audio is not quite perfect, but DOSBox is still a really cool program. Now this game I can play with one hand, so yeah, it runs about as fast as it did on my 386 back in the day. Kind of a low frame rate. I don't know if there's some settings I can adjust or if it's just the way this emulator is. But I know when I ran this game on my 486 or newer, the frame rate was pretty good. Oh, darn it. You know, I wonder if I can load some old replays. Can't remember how to do that though. I don't think this game saves replays, actually. It's been so long, I really can't remember. Let's see, menu, load replay. Huh. Yeah, this must be the other folder. This isn't my original copy of Stunts on here. And, I had a ton of replays saved on mine, crazy crashes I did and stuff. Yikes. Man, is this modded or something? It's going a little faster than it should be there. Yeah, this definitely wasn't something I did. Well, this sure brings back memories, though, I tell you what. I bet some of you guys remember this game. Yeah, my mom must have just got home. I hear the dog barking. No, the sound effects aren't working. Rise of the Triad, one of the early 3D games that was all software rendering like Doom was. No, I can't really play it like this though. Apogee. Let me see what else I got here. I used to play the crap out of this too. And it's still got some save games on here. Gotta love these shooting games with the really exaggerated weapons. Boy, it's running great though. Playing with one hand, it's not too easy to do. Wow. Nostalgia, man. Detail level Pentium. I remember when Pentium was top of the line. The original first Pentium before even the MMX came out. What do we got here? Oh, Mega Man. Pinball Dreams, Marble Madness, Lemmings, Clax. I wonder if the original software-driven Quake game would run in here. Let's see. Music disabled. Oh my God. Oh, it just crashed DOSBox. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Now I gotta fix this. God, God, I remember this game too. I think I just... And this game was pretty ahead of its time back when it first came out, I think. The graphics on this remind me a lot of Daytona USA. It is from about the same era. Of course, Daytona would destroy this as far as graphics though. But I mean, just the overall style of the graphics reminds me of Daytona. I don't know about you guys, but every time I ever had a driving game like this, my favorite thing to do was drive in reverse and wait for the cars to hit me. I don't know why, but I guess it's because I was never good enough at racing, so I wanted to cause carnage instead, but this is running good on here. Yeah, really not much to see. Oh, let's see. Not sure what else to play here. I wonder if Lemmings would run. This really brings back a lot of memories too. This was a game that came with something I bought. Maybe it was a sound card or a video card. Some piece of hardware that I bought came with Lemmings on a 720K floppy. It was a blue 3.5-inch floppy that it came on, and I just remember playing the crap out of this. And it was also one of the first games I had that used a slightly higher resolution graphics and a little more colors than stuff that I had before. Because back in that time, well, I think it's got some problems, but around the time this came out, I was still using an EGA monitor, so yeah, you gotta use the dig. This was a really super easy level here. All these really simple games back in the day, I tell you what. Those of you that haven't seen this before, this is just a puzzle game where you figure out a way to get these little dudes into the exit doorway, and it gets more and more difficult. You have more and more options you can use, and you actually have to get pretty creative sometimes. But I wasted many hours playing this back in the day. Now, let's get back to the main screen here and get back to DOS. dir/w. One must fall. Another one I remember. Yeah, sound is working too. '80s hairband guy. Random robot. Oh my god. I can't even play it. It's too fast. Holy crap. I'm gonna get my butt kicked. I think the frame rate's just a little too high. Oh my god. Sheesh, when I played this back in the day, it was like playing in slow motion. Now look at it. Nice. Well, that's about enough of that. Oh boy. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I got to work in the morning and it's getting late. So I apologize if I left anything out that you guys really wanted to see me do with this, but any of you that's watching this has probably spent a lot of time messing with computers anyway, so you know what can be done and what can't. But if there's any specific stuff that you'd like to see me do on a Linux computer or computers in general, let me know. And those of you that are waiting for more audio restoration videos, sometime in the next few weeks I do have some receivers coming in for restoration if everything works out. I've got, I think, 3 of my coworkers all have projects for me, so there's a very good chance I'm going to be doing some more vintage audio work, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's been a long time, so stay tuned for that.